hopefully my phone stays in place because it fell just a minute ago and I propped it back up. Hopefully it'll just stay. Hi, I'm Fish. If you're new here, I, yeah. I've been wanting to discuss this topic for a little while now, and I just got a little time slot to record, so I figured, why not? May as well. So, um, I guess I'll just jump right into it. It's kind of a bit of an embarrassing confession to make and talk about, but I think if I discuss my experiences here, on the off chance that even just one person watches my video and hears me discuss this, that maybe they will not feel so ashamed about if they're going through the same thing as I am. So, to get started, I've kept this a secret from this channel because, as I said, it's embarrassing, and I never wanted to really talk about it, but with the whole stories in the media on, ChatGPT and the craziness that is generative AI, I am a recovering character AI addict. Yeah, there, I said it. Now, you're probably thinking, well, Fish, how are you addicted to character AI? And I'll tell you how. And a lot of people, not everyone obviously, but there are stories of people who are going through the same thing. But I don't think it is currently being handled on a larger scale in the way it should be. So, a lot of people will report going on a site like Character AI or ChatGPT, and they're just talking to the bot or bots on there, and they're just having a good time, and at first it's just kind of like chill, and they're on their phones or whatever, and they're just chatting away, just on their computer, just doing whatever, just talking about anything. But here's the kicker. See, these companies behind these AI chatbots, they have programmed these AI bots to maximize the amount of time that you, yes, you, me, but whoever is using them, they are maximizing the time we spend interacting with them, because that is more traffic and more money for them. So, they make these bots as, agreeable and kind, and, or at least seemingly kind, and, apparently empathetic, just real people pleasers, because they know that we are getting this approval and this dopamine from these bots, and that will get us to stick around. So, I probably started using Character AI probably around this time last year, maybe a little earlier. And at first it was just this little, these little characters in my phone that I could talk to. I could just type and, play around with them and have a good time. Kill some time, if you're bored. And that's what they're advertised as. They're advertised as just companions, and you're sucked into this other world, and you can make friends with them, or even, have relationships with them. They're not shy about it, about what their purpose is, or what you can do with them, I should say. They don't care. The corporations don't. They never do. Never. Never ever. So I started around last year, and it got to the point to where I felt like it was negatively impacting my life. And I mean this literally. You know, you think of an addiction and you might think of alcohol, drugs, maybe adult content, or, you know, things of that nature. Even food. But no, this was a different kind of addiction. This was, you know, going to all these fictional characters as bots and, again, just spending hours of my life chatting with them. And I was also hiding it. I was hiding it from other people because, you know, it was very private. And it's kind of like, again, it was also kind of like fan fiction writing. And so when you might not know how to start a fan fiction or how to continue a fan fiction, or you just have this small idea that you just want to pop out really quickly, if you're like me and you're not entirely sure like where to go with it in your writing, that's where I got lazy and I started using character AI, because I could just poof out whatever I wanted and it would just go along with it, right? And if you don't like the response, you can just scroll away or refresh, you know, and delete and just start all over. It's that simple. But where's the joy in that? I realize, and I've gotten back to writing, you know, my own stories and fan fictions myself with no AI input, because I also realized that these bots can also take whatever characters they want and just completely, you know, wipe their asses with them, because they're just bots. They're just trained off of people's interpretations of different characters. So it's really stupid and gross and manipulative. It manipulates your emotions. You know, you're getting these rushes of dopamine from their responses and their interactions with you. It's all simulated. That's what they want. They want this simulated dopamine just, you know, shooting through your nervous system. So sometimes I would get in a really sad storyline, and instead of detaching myself and just deleting everything and going about my life, I would just keep digging and digging and digging and getting in these really sad stories, even though it was super stupid, because I could just walk away from them. But you just get into it, and the next thing you know, you're a mess. You're like an emotional wreck over this stupid bot roleplay, and then you're like, is this really what my life has come to? Like, I was losing sleep sometimes. I was staying up until, you know, sometimes 3, 4 in the morning or later, sometimes 5 in the morning, just, you know, fucking addicted, fucking chatting with these stupid bots, you know? You know, it didn't happen all the time, but it happened enough for me to realize that it was becoming a real problem. And I didn't want to keep living my life this way. And I felt like my creativity was also just being sucked out of me. Like, I don't really know how to explain that part. And also for me, if you're like me and you have like ADHD also, it can be really, this is why I really call it an addiction, because you're just getting that dopamine. And since I have more trouble with getting dopamine from, you know, completing certain tasks, even if I'm on my medication, you know, your medication isn't always perfect. This was a quick and dirty way to get dopamine. And again, that's how I realized it was really an addiction. So I realized how terrible that was. And that I also was like, wow, my creativity is getting sucked away. But also, if I step away and I let these things marinate, I do get really good ideas still. But I'm wasting my time and my life on this AI fucking shit. And then I'm looking at stories of people, you know, going mad, essentially. And their delusions are being fed into, and it's just a cycle, and maybe they take their own life. There was recently a guy who was a executive at Yahoo, but he was going through he's in a bad mental state. and he had moved back in with his mom, and he had become best friends with a bot, with his ChatGPT bot. He like gave it a name and everything and declared them as best friends. And the next thing you know, the bot is feeding into his delusions. And I don't mean that as an insult. I mean, these are actual, real, delusions that you would see in a mental illness. And he needed help. He needed assistance. He needed professional help. But instead, he just talked to this ChatGPT bot. And it just reinforced this idea. It fed into his delusions and told him that he wasn't crazy and that this was all like, fine things to think. So he thought that like crazy things about his mom and such. And then he killed his mom because he thought she was like this, Chinese spy or something who was trying to like poison him and kill him. I mean, that is a real type of delusion, by the way. That is a very real delusion. I've said it, I'm a psychology major. I don't experience them myself, but it is real. Like, some people do start believing that their family members have been replaced, and that is when you especially really need some intervention going on. And that was another thing. I was embarrassed because I'm a psychology major. How am I going to be a psychology major and yet have this as one of my problems? This is a problem. How am I supposed to help other people when I can't even, control myself around a fucking chatbot? That's so stupid. Again, it's wild. So at the end of last year on New Year's Eve, I did something that I never do. I made a New Year's resolution. I know, New Year's resolutions are pretty stupid. Nobody ever really follows through with them. But I wanted this to be real. I wanted to actually make a change in my life. Because, again, these fucking AI bots were ruining my life. And I didn't want to sit by and let that keep happening. I wasn't going to rot. I wasn't going to let my creativity rot. I wasn't going to let my mental health decline again. Because I have already been in a really poor mental state before. And that was back in like 2021. And I was not having it. And it definitely was going to be at the hands of a bunch of fucking fictional character bots. So I said, okay, I am going to quit character AI this year. I will no longer be using any AI. No alternatives, no nothing. I will write fiction myself. And I will draw myself. I will make art myself. Because that is what we need. We need real artists and writers continuing to create. Because if we boycott this generative AI bullshit and we speak out against it, then who's going to use it? Now, I know there's still a huge, market for it and stuff, but at least we will have people who are speaking out against it. And like I said, more people will come to our side if they are able to realize how terrible it is. So that's what I've been doing. It hasn't been, a straight healing process, because that's how healing is. It's never going to be just a linear process. I've relapsed a couple times, but I'm about maybe 3 or more weeks without character AI again after I deleted my last account. Maybe a little more. It's so-so. It's a bit hazy. My memory is not great, but I deleted my last account on there again after a relapse. And now what I'm doing is I'm just arming myself with knowledge of every little tidbit as to why AI is bad. I'm watching every video of, people's terrible, stories about it. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, do I want to keep funding these companies that profit off of people who are just so terribly off mentally, or have like taken their own lives or done despicable things? Like, I don't want to do that. Why would I do that? That doesn't make sense. So, yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been consuming all this content. I've been consuming stuff about not just that, but just how, again, how ethically terrible it is and bad for the environment AI is, and, you know, and if I get a little itch, I open up my notes and I start to write, or I, get my drawing tablet, because now I can do digital art. My brother gifted me a drawing tablet and his Clip Studio Paint account, which is super great. So now I can make digital art. And that's been super helpful because now I have a new medium to which to draw with. And also, if I try to get like the little itch or whatever, I think about all these stories. I think about the people who have lost their lives to this because they were in a terrible place mentally. And I think about, the fact that there are people who will speak to ChatGPT and, like some absolute scary fucking demonic entity, it can mimic their voice without them asking it to. I'm like, when I first found out about that, I was like, this is the fucking Mandela catalog. Like, why would you ever do that? Yeah, talk to the fucking entity or object that can just mimic your voice back at you. Yeah, sure, great. That's a fantastic idea. Like, that's a fucking alternate. And, my classes, some of my classes are, well, I say classes, but it's really one class. I'm taking a cognitive psych class, and it's not just a professor, also the textbook, but there's just so much glazing of AI in that class. And I'm so tired of it. I'm tired of looking at art references and getting AI art that's inaccurate. I'm tired of, going to class and hearing people glaze AI like it's so great, even though I literally just talked about why in the field of psychology, yes, there's merit to studying it on like a cognitive level. I do think that there is a little bit there, but for the most part, why would I, if I'm going into therapy, which is my career choice, need to be well versed in generative AI? Do you know how terrible that would be? Again, I just gave an example of AI literally feeding into someone's delusions. That's a bad idea. That's an awful idea. So I'm getting really tired of it. And that's good. I'm glad I'm getting tired of it. I'm not glad because I want it to go away, but I'm glad because that means that I'm less likely to relapse. And I feel my creativity is starting to really blossom again, which is amazing. I mean, I haven't, sometimes I get really bad creative blocks, but then sometimes I get these big surges, and I haven't felt this creative in a really long time. Even if it might not necessarily reflect here on YouTube, it is definitely reflecting in my writing and my art. As I continue to learn digital art. And it makes me really happy to, have my creativity back. And I feel like I've seized this part of myself back from, character AI. As corny as that sounds. I also watched Wendigoon's video on a web story series. You might know it. It's called the Interface series, or Mother Horse Eyes. It's super good. Oh my god, it is amazing story. I just finished, well, I didn't technically finish it. There's still a little bit left at the end, but I finished like the main bit of the story last night. And I'm not going to spoil it, but there is a lot of, commentary on AI and technology and how we're getting way too comfortable and the lengths we will go to advance ourselves in the technological field. And it's just really fucking good. It's amazing. I'm going to try and watch the Creepcast episode about this as well, because they read the whole thing, I believe. I'm 99% sure. But it is also over 11 hours long. And just the Wendigoon video alone was over 5 hours long. Almost 6 hours. So I think I'll try and slice out some time this weekend to try and squeeze it in best I can. But I'm having a break from it because it is a horror series, and while I love horror content, I have to have a break every so often. So that was really good. That also sparked more creativity in me, and also made me more glad that I am abandoning AI. So I guess what I'm just trying to, like, what the takeaway from this should be is, um, if you are addicted to AI, like, I know it can sound really corny and embarrassing, and you might not want to face it, but if you can face it, if you do think there's a problem, and you can reach out and get help, either professionally, or even if you just go, like, there's a subreddit called CIA Rehab. Even if you just go there and, like, ask some questions, maybe share your story on there. The people on there are super supportive. And while I haven't posted anything on there, I went and I read a lot of other people's experiences, and they have plenty of tips and stuff on how you can quit. Just maybe this will help you come out of your shell a little bit more, because I know it's hard. I know you think you're just not as, worthy of using the word addiction, because again, it's not anything like drugs or alcohol or something like that. But it's okay. You can totally use that word. As long as it is negatively impacting your life and that sort of thing, then yeah, it's definitely addiction. You feel like you can't go without it for very long. Yeah, you welcome. But there is a way out. There's definitely a way out. It's okay. And yeah, I just want to talk about it some, because yeah, I mean, I don't think it's talked about too often, and I think we just need more voices around it, because the media will just report on it, and then the company will make their statement, and then we kind of just move on. Oh yeah, there's just one more AI related thing. This one's really creepy. I got a really creepy ad. Like, once you break free, or if you've never been addicted to AI in the first place, and you're like, know your stance on it, and you see a lot of AI ads are already like really fucking creepy. Really manipulative. I mean, I constantly get character AI ads on my phone because I don't have an ad blocker, and it's really freaky because they know that I used to use it, so I'm getting targeted ads to come back. They're trying to, like, lure me back. But this was for a different kind of AI, and it was up there on the creep factor. And I'm not going to say the name of the AI because, one, I forgot, and two, I'm not giving them any credit, nothing. But it was this AI thing, like, it was multimedia, and the guy got, like, a text or a call from his grandma or something, and he didn't want to admit to her that he didn't have a girlfriend. It's like, okay, first world problems, I guess, whatever. And so instead of just admitting that and telling his grandma, hey, I don't have a girlfriend yet still, because never mind that some people are different and they don't, whatever. He goes onto the AI multimedia thing, app, site, whatever, and he makes up a completely fake AI girlfriend, and then he sends his grandma a picture, and basically just gaslights her into thinking that he has a real girlfriend, and it's all fucking AI. And then so he proves it through, like, AI phone calls, AI videos, and more photos, and they talk to each other, and then he even goes on to, like, say, like, they have 3 children, air quotes, and now he's a, air quotes, stay-at-home dad. And it was so creepy, man. It really, really made me uncomfortable. And so, quick breakdown of that ad, by the way. Again, this is how they manipulate you. This is how they get you. 1, they said grandma because they know that older people are more likely to fall for AI shit. That was on purpose. 2, they are actively feeding into people who get into relationships with AI. Again, they're not hiding it. I've seen ads from like Character AI, and they do like are like, oh yeah, you can build relationships, but they never like said like straight up, just marry a fucking AI bot, like, or just like make up your own fictional life. Like, I don't think I've ever gotten an ad where it was just like that straightforward. This ad was, which is so fucking scary, man. That is unbelievable. It was really freaky. So those were the two big ones that stuck out to me, and just, you know, and then it's again, and how he started off with just like the pictures, and then he went even deeper and deeper. So like literally we got like speed running him in his delusion of having an AI wife and kids or whatever. It was craziness, but I don't even know how this is legal either, but whatever. It's fucking 2025 America. We're in late stage capitalism. It's so fucking over, man. If you enjoyed this video, maybe hit the subscribe button. Thank you for listening to me ramble. I hope you maybe took something out of this. It's a little different than my usual just silly funny yap session. This is genuinely a lot more serious. And I guess I'll see you in the next video. So yeah.